Hi, and welcome back to this new video tutorial of Magento 2. In today's video tutorial, we'll be checking out our new plugin, that's the Magento 2 QuickBooks multi-user connector there. Now, using this particular connector or the extension, the admin of the Magento 2 store would be able to export the order data or the sales receipts and the credit memos from the Magento 2 store into the QuickBooks there. Kindly note that by making use of this particular plugin, the admin would be able to add multiple QuickBooks accounts in the Magento 2 in there. But at a time, you'll be able to map only one QuickBooks account with one store view. You'll not be able to add more than one QuickBooks account to a particular store view there. Now, also kindly note that in the procedure where we are basically exporting the sales receipts from the Magento 2, and these sales receipts or the order details would be synchronized automatically with the QuickBooks there. And for that, we have a configuration in the backend on the QuickBooks configuration settings there, wherein you'll be able to set up when that particular synchronization or the auto synchronization should start. Now, you'll be able to auto synchronize the sales receipts or the order data there by choosing the options like at the time of order place, invoice create, and what we say as the order complete. So as soon as if we have chosen it as order place, then at the time when the customer places the order, the sales receipt is auto synchronized from the Magento 2 end into the QuickBooks there, and the same goes at the time of invoice create and for the order complete as well there itself. Now, kindly also note that in the case of credit memo export, auto export, it is basically auto exported from the Magento 2 and into the QuickBooks there. So whenever you are creating a particular credit memo within the Magento 2 store for a particular order, as soon as you create it up, that particular credit memo is automatically exported to the QuickBooks there. Also, kindly note that you are able to see the particular mapped or the exported credit memo data in the QuickBooks Connector user settings there. And if you delete that particular mapping, then what would happen is that particular mapping would be listed under the export what we say as the credit memo section, and then you'll be able to manually export that particular credit memo from Magento 2 and into the QuickBooks there. So before I proceed further today in today's video tutorial, what we'll be doing is we'll be checking out the initial configuration settings for this particular plugin. Then we'll be seeing how we'll be able to basically configure the users or the QuickBooks accounts in the Magento 2 end, and then we'll be seeing the different options that we get under the particular accounts there, and then we'll be seeing how we'll be able to basically export the sales receipts or the order data and the credit memos from the Magento 2 end into the QuickBooks there manually as well as automatically there itself. But before I proceed further with this particular video tutorial today, please do subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to receive the latest updates from our end. And if you find this particular video helpful, then do kindly give it a thumbs up. So let's hop on to the Magento 2 backend panel first, and let's see the initial configurations, and then we'll see the QuickBooks end as well after we have exported the data from the Magento 2 end into the QuickBooks there. So for the same, let's hop on to the Magento 2 backend panel now. So right now you can see that I'm at the Magento 2 backend panel. So what we'll be doing is we'll be first logging into the Magento 2 backend panel by entering the username, password, and tapping on the login button thereafter. So let's log into the admin backend panel first. So I'll just tap here on the sign in button. Now, after the successful installation of this particular plugin, you'll find one option on the admin side hand panel in the Magento 2 backend with the name Multi QuickBooks Connect, as you can see, with two different options. One is the QuickBooks accounts, wherein you'll be able to manage the QuickBooks accounts for the multiple QuickBooks user accounts there, and you have the configuration settings. Now, you can access the configuration settings also by navigating through stores, configuration, and under the web tool block you'll have the Multi QuickBooks Connect, where we have the general settings and the notification for synchronizing the tax rates, or else you can directly access the configuration settings by tapping on the configuration settings as well, and this will redirect you to that particular section on the configuration settings itself. So first of all, let me show you the initial configuration settings, and then we'll be hopping on to the QuickBooks account section to see how we can add the multiple users in the QuickBooks for the multiple users accounts there in the Magento 2 backend panel there. But before that, we'll see the configuration settings. So under the configuration settings, we have the general settings where we have to enable this particular functionality of the QuickBooks auto sync there for the sales receipts and the what we say as the credit memos from the Magento 2 end into the QuickBooks there. So you have to enable this particular functionality as yes. Then we have the account type. So here you can choose the development or the testing environment or the production or the live environment as per your own requirement. For this demonstration, we are choosing the development environment there. And then you have to enter the client ID and the client secret. Now the client ID and the client secret can be created by the admin by logging into his QuickBooks account, or he can go to the developer account there, and he can basically create the what we say as a user account first, and then he'll have to create an app, and within the app he'll find the particular credentials that are the client ID and the client secret. For more details on how to get the client ID and the client secret, you can check the user guide that we have attached within the description of this particular video itself. After that, we have the notification for the synchronization of the tax rates. So now kindly note that here you have to need to create the following tax rates on the QuickBooks and for synchronizing the tax details with the orders there. So whatever tax rates that you have created within the what we say as the Magento, and those all would be visible here along with the tax code, and the tax rate would be visible. Now if I take you to the QuickBooks end, as you can see, this is a QuickBook end. I want to taxes and sales taxes, and let me show you that taxes and sale taxes. Let me open this in another window there. So this will just take a bit of time there to display the particular page on the QuickBooks itself. So the company that I've selected is the sandbox company _US_1 there. Now under this taxes, we have to go to the sales tax section, and on the right hand side we have the option to add and view the particular data there, right? So this is just taking a bit of time there. Let's leave that out. So here you can see that I've created the US MI rate and the US New York rate, and here I've given the agency name, and here I've given the tax rates for the same. So depending upon the what we say as the tax codes and the tax rates within the Magento, the similar are to be created on the QuickBooks end as well. By tapping here on the new, you can add the tax name, the agency name, the rate, and you can tap here on the save button thereafter, right? Now coming back to the configuration settings, only kindly note that you have to create the following tax rates on the QuickBooks end for synchronizing the tax details with the orders there. If you're not doing so and you're trying to export the credit memos as well, then the credit memos would not be exported there from the Magento 2 into the QuickBooks there. And after you're done with this particular configuration settings, you need to tap here on the save configuration button. Now coming to the QuickBooks Connect section, let's go to the QuickBook accounts. Now here you'll find the complete list of QuickBook accounts that you've already added within the Magento 2 store to the respective store views, and only one QuickBook account can be associated with a single store view there of the Magento 2 itself. So here you can see that we have associated two different ones. One is the test store 2, and it's been assigned to the store view, that's the test store view. The other one is the test account 1, and it's associated with the default store view there. Now how to add a new QuickBook account? So for that you have to tap here on the add new QuickBook account, and after tapping that up, you have to enter the account name. So here you have to set the unique name for the account along with the QB or the QuickBooks company, and whatever you set up here you'll not be able to change it later. So set it up accordingly as per your requirement there, the account name, and then you have to choose the associate to store. So here you'll find the complete list of store views that you are having within the Magento 2 store, and you have to select a particular one to assign that particular account name to the same. And now after you're done with this particular section here, you have to tap here on the save QuickBooks account. Now let me show you how it appears after we have saved in the previous step there. So if I check this test store view and I tap here on the edit option, let this particular section come up, and then we'll see what different options are there within the same. So after in the previous step, when we have given the account name and we have chosen the store view, we have tapped on the save button, then you'll see this QuickBooks account information. wherein you'll see the QuickBooks Connect QuickBook account option, but you will not be having the general configuration, mapped order, export order, mapped credit memo, and export credit memo options. And under the Connect QuickBook account, you'll have the QuickBook account section wherein you can see the account name and associated to store, and here you'll see Connect to QuickBook as well. So what you have to do is, in the previous step, after you save that up, you have to come to this particular step where you have to log into your QuickBooks account. Then you have to tap here, and this would open this particular section, as you can see, and this would basically log in to the QuickBooks account that you have. If you're already logged into your QuickBooks account, then you can directly tap on the same as per your own requirement. Now let me tap here on the OK, but let me set it as let's tap here on the OK button, and then I'll just tap on the refresh button. And after tapping on the refresh button, then we'll get these general configuration, mapped order, export order, mapped credit memo, and the export credit memo options there. Now you can see that the Connect to QuickBooks is showing as authorized right now. Now let's go to the QuickBooks account here, and let's see the different configuration settings that we now get under the QuickBooks account information section there. So we'll have the general configuration. Now under the general configuration, we have the QuickBooks general configuration, wherein we'll be able to set up the sales receipt create on QuickBooks. So here you have the option of when you want to create the sales receipt on the QuickBooks automatically. So you can choose between order place sorry for that. So you can choose between order place, invoice create, and order complete. So whenever an order is placed, at that time the sales receipt would automatically be created on the QuickBooks end, and same goes with the invoice create when the invoice is created, and for the order complete, whenever the invoice and the shipment is completed, only then would the sales receipt be created on the QuickBooks as per the requirement there. So for this particular demonstration, first what I'll be doing is, after going through all of these options here, then I'll be showing you how the customers can place the order. So we'll check the order place thing when we are placing the order, how the particular order gets automatically synchronized with the QuickBooks there, and then we'll see the invoice create as well, and then the same goes with the order complete as well. So we'll just be checking the order place and the invoice create, and then we'll be seeing how we can automatically export the credit memos as well from Magento 2 store into the what we say as the QuickBooks there itself. Then we have the QuickBooks US account, whether you have a QuickBooks US account, so you can choose between enabled or disabled. Then you have the inventory other asset account, so you need to choose inventory asset here. Same goes with the income account and the expense account. You have to choose the income account and the expense account. And after you're done with this particular section, then you can come down to the mapped order section. Now under the mapped order section, you will find all of the orders that you've mapped or that have been mapped from the Magento 2 into the QuickBooks there automatically, or the ones that you have mapped manually as well. And here you can see the Magento order ID, Magento invoice ID, QuickBooks sales receipt doc number, the status, the purchase date, and export it to QuickBooks on date. And from here you can also view the details of the orders as well. Now if I take you to the QuickBooks end here you can see that, for example, if we check this particular one here, the sales receipt for 22 of this month, sales receipt for the order number 18 for the John Doe, we can also tap here and we can find the details of this sales receipt with the address and the products that were there, and we can tap here on the edit option, and this would bring up the edit thing, and here we can see the customer name, the billing address, the sales receipt date, the shipping to option. Apart from that, you can also see the payment method that was selected by the customer there, and you can also see the product services, description, quantity, rate, amount, and text, and the rest of the data here as well. Now let me close it out. Now let's go back to the Magento 2 end there. So that was the mapped order section, and now let's come down to the export order section. And here if I go to the export order section, you can see the orders as well under the export order section that can be exported manually from the Magento 2 end into the QuickBooks there. And here you'll find all of those orders for which we have set the configuration setting. For example, we had set the sales receipt create on QuickBooks on order place. Now if we choose it as invoice create and order complete, for example invoice create or order complete, then in that case those orders would be visible under the export order section. Now if I select this particular order here that we have, that's the ID number 21, the increment ID 4 in the last, the customer name is test at the webcool.com, and it has been created on March 23, 2020. And if I choose the export orders to QuickBooks and I tap here on the submit and tap OK on the prompt there, we'll be able to see this exporting orders are in process. Now this will take a bit of time there for the particular order to be exported from the Magento 2 and into the QuickBooks there, and you can see that the order has been exported. Now if I go to my sales section here and I refresh this particular page here, so the latest one is the credit memo that we can see. Now let's refresh the particular page here and let me scroll down, and let me just scroll to the left here, and now you can see the sales receipt for the order number that is having 4 in the last, as you can see here, the same that we have just exported. Now let me go back to the QuickBooks account here, and after that let me go to the particular one, testo view. Let me edit it out. Now this was the process of manually exporting the orders or the sales receipts for the Magento 2 and into the QuickBooks there. In a while from now we'll also be seeing how this can be done automatically as well. Now let's go to the mapped order section, and here you can see we'll have the particular one with the 4 in the last. This has been mapped, and if I go to the export order right now, this particular section would be empty. Now let's go to the mapped credit memos. So here you'll find the complete list of credit memos that have been automatically mapped from the Magento 2 into the QuickBooks there, and you can basically delete the mapped credit memos as well from the record as well. If you delete them out, then these would be set up under the export credit memo section. And if you want to export a particular credit memo, you can select it up manually then, and then you can go with the export credit memos to QuickBooks. Let's go with the ID 3 and the increment ID as 2 in the last, that's this one, and let's tap here on the submit and OK on the prompt there. Now this will also just take some time there for the particular exporting of the credit memo from the Magento 2 and into the QuickBooks there, and as soon as it's done we'll be able to see completed here, and total 1 credit memos have been imported in QuickBooks and the execution has finished. Now if I come down to the sales section here, so this was the sales receipt that we had exported from the Magento 2 into the QuickBooks there, and now let's refresh this particular page once again to check whether we are getting that particular credit memo being exported here within the QuickBooks itself. So let's scroll down and scroll to the left here. So this was the sales receipt, the order number 2 with 0s and 4 in the last. Now we have the credit memo 2 in the last that we had done. Now if I come back to the particular section here, that's the Magento 2 QuickBooks Connect, and I go to QuickBooks account, and then I go to my particular account here, that's the testo view. I edit it up, and after editing it up, if I go to the particular section, that's the mapped credit memo, we'll find that particular mapped one, that's 2 in the last. As you can see, C memo hyphen 2 in the start and 2 in the last. The same is visible here. C memo 2 in the first, 2 in the last. The details are visible as well there, right? So this was the procedure of manually exporting the orders and the credit memos from the Magento 2 and into the QuickBooks there. Now let's see how we can basically export the data of the sales receipt as well as of the credit memos from the Magento 2 and into the QuickBooks automatically. So for that, what I'll do is I'll go to the general configuration and I'll choose sales receipt create in QuickBooks as order place. So whenever the customer is placing the order, at that very time the particular order or the sales receipt would be synchronized with the QuickBooks there. Let's save this particular account there. So the account has been saved, as you can see, and let's edit it up. And let me go to the storefront and let me add one product in the cart, and let's tap here on the add to cart, and let's proceed to the checkout now. And let me go to this particular section here, and let's go to the mapped order section. In the meantime, let's come back to this particular section, Okay, and let's tap here on this sign in, test@webcool.com, 1 2 3. Okay, just give me a second for that. I'll just go back and I'll just go to sign in here, and I'll just log into the account there. I just forgot my password, so this is automatically signed in now. Now here I have the product and round neck t-shirt there, and let's select the shipping method, tap on the next, and let's tap here on the place order button. And as soon as the order has been placed, the order number is 21 in the last. And if I go to this particular test2 store and I refresh this particular page, and after refreshing it, if I go to the mapped order section, we'll be able to see the particular order being the mapped order details being displayed here as well, right? So now let's come down to the particular section here on the QuickBooks, and let's refresh this particular page. Okay, might be I've done one thing that's gone basically wrong there. Actually, I've done it with the default store view. I had to do it with the test store view basically. So let's go with the test store view. Okay, so we are having some issues with that. No problem. Let me go to the other account that I have that's mapped with the default store view here. This one, the default store view. Let's edit it up. And after editing it up, you can see that we are already done here. If I go to the mapped order section, it's not showing the data there. Now what I'll do is I'll again place one order here. So I'll just go to, okay, right. Let me do one thing. Let's set it as test to view itself. It's okay to go. And let me go to the particular section here. Let me add the product into the cart. So I'll be changing the particular account there in the backend in a while. So I've just chosen the test to view right now, as you can see. And I'll just proceed to the checkout now. And I'll select the shipping method there. I'll tap on the next. I'll tap here on the place order. Alright, for this particular one we have set it as invoice create, and for the other one that we had, the other account that we had, for that I had set the sales receipt create on order place. So the order has been placed. You can see the order ID is 2 in the start and 5 in the last there. And now let's go to the QuickBooks end and let's refresh the QuickBooks end. After refreshing the QuickBooks end, if I scroll down, and here you can see the sales receipt has been synchronized. The order number is 2 in the start, 5 in the last. If I tap on that, we can see the details of the order there, and here we have the address, the product and services, and if I edit it up, we can see the complete details of the particular sales receipt as well. So this is just taking a bit of time there. Let me tap again here, and let me tap here on the edit. Okay. Alright, so this is the sales receipt that we have done here with. Basically, we have exported from the Magento 2 end into the QuickBooks end. Now let's go back to the backend panel there, and let's go to the sales, and let's go to the orders. And now let's check this order number that we had just placed. 2 starting, 5 in the last. 2 starting, 5 in the last. And here we have the details. 2 starting, 5 in the last. And here we are having the details of the purchase messenger bag with the description, its quantity, rate, amount, tax, and the rest of the details as well. So now let's create the credit memo there for this particular order. So I'll just go to Web section for the order starting with ID starting with 2 in the first and find the last, and I'll first generate the invoice for the same. So the issue with the first order that I had placed was that I had not selected the particular store view to which that particular QuickBooks account was associated with. That's why we got an issue that the particular thing was not synchronized when we placed that order. But when I changed this particular store view, the particular thing got automatically synchronized with the sales with the QuickBooks tab. Now here I'm on the invoice. Let me tap here on the submit invoice. The invoice would be submitted and the invoice has been created. Now let's tap here on the credit memo, and now you'll see that we'll do here the refund offline, and we'll be creating a credit memo for this particular order that we had placed for the order number 2 starting find the last. So the credit memo has been generated. Now if I go to the credit memos here, you can see the credit memo number is 2 in the starting and 4 in the last there. Now if I go to my QuickBooks section here, I close this out. This was the credit memo has been generated. That's, you can see that has automatically been synchronized here. The credit memo with 2 in the starting, 4 in the last. If I tap on that, I can find the details of the credit memo. As you can see, credit memo activity for the push it messenger bag. If I tap on the edit option, we'll find the particular details of the same here. As you can see, total credit $50. So yes, that was much about the Magento 2 QuickBooks Multi-User Connect plugin, and I hope that this particular plugin helped you out in understanding how we can export the data automatically from the Magento 2 and to the QuickBooks there for both the sales receipts and for the credit memos there. So if you still have any questions, queries, sessions or requirements regarding the same, then you can anytime get back to us at support@webcool.com, or you can raise a ticket at webcool.uedesk.com as well. Apart from that, if you find this particular video helpful, then do kindly give it a thumbs up. And lastly, thanks for watching this particular video and have a great day ahead.